Behold, it is I, Jerford K. Horkrims. I see Devendra popping into the channel and suggesting they didn't expect an act in today. Joy of Joys.
Expect the unexpected.
Expect the unexpected. Now, you should know that, technically speaking, it was very surprising to me. I had put my reservation information into my app for my flight to East. And it told me this morning when I was getting the kids ready for school that my flight was in 10 minutes. Except I was in my kitchen. And it would have made it very difficult to succeed in that endeavor. So there probably shouldn't have been an episode today, but this is what I want to do. So I'll get on the plane. I'll see you at the show. Now, it's like this. Now that we've done that, we're going to rewind and we're going to do the ritual correctly so that nothing bad happens.
Yeah. Bring it back. Bring
it back. Hello, precious channel. Thanks so much for the subs. Really, really appreciate it. Thanks so much for supporting the show.
Wow,
Malagran. We got it all in here. Neatman.
Everybody's popping up.
However it came to be.
27 months?
I don't know, dude.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's crazy pants. Now, however it came to be, and certainly we extend you some sympathy in this regard, you have stumbled, drunkenly, perhaps, into the very seat of our power. Acquisitions Intoxicated, Twitch's Brewing Show. I am your host, Jerford K. Horkrims, your internet friend. I'm joined, as virtually always, by Eric J. Benson, Acquisitions.
In the flesh?
Not
really virtual.
Embodied.
I mean, I could put a big hat and do some Jamiroquai.
If you could. We've talked about it, and it's never happened. So, he is the Acquisitions Intoxicated Brewmaster. We revere him. We worship him. We praise him. We serve him in our way. We get at some pretty deep stuff here. That's what we do. That's what the show is about. We, as a organism, invented some pretty novel technology that involves leveraging very tiny creatures in a deeply specific sort of war that occurs at a very, very low level. And we will teach you to master these ancient forces. It's yours. It's yours. The act, the art, the craft of brewing. It's your personal IP. You should leverage it. It's irresponsible not to leverage it, in fact. So, bare minimum, we're going to teach you about some stuff. We will act as your sensing organs, remote though we may be. Beyond that, we're going to talk about the trip that we took over to Two Beers.
Pretty awesome.
Which was a real treat. And then we're going to do what we always do, take over the world, but also try to transcribe and codify Dungeons and Dragons, Acquisitions Incorporated style tropes into potable artifacts. If this is acceptable to the gathered throng, then let us continue. So,
what if it's not? How do we know?
I'm not going to look up. I'm gonna look down in this corner. I'm going to focus on it. So you brought us some crazy shit. So you brought another banana bread. For
Mike. So Mike, if you're out there in TV land, you weren't able to have this. So come on in the.
We drank it all.
We all drank
before
it
you got here.
Get it.
Okay. Yes, this does happen.
So we brought you some of that today. But what I'm really excited about is I was at the shop and I found a.
Here. I will.
It's by Southern Tier, but it's a bière de garde, which is a French style of Saison. So Saisons were Belgian, and bière de gardes was the sister beer to that. So it's like it's a style that emerged, but then in each of these different regions sort of took its own spin. Exactly. They're both Saisons, but this is the French version, and particularly northern France. So it has some German influences as well. Is it the same? Is it similar to those Belgian beers that are spontaneously fermented? No, it's still kind of, because it's still a farmhouse ale. Right? Okay, so it still has a goaty, horsey, an earthy. Yeah, exactly. But what's interesting is it's very malt forward. You're going to usually have low IBUs, and that's not common. Yeah. The other style is very tart. So think about this. What this is an IPA that they made. That is ale that is brewed with grapefruit, but a very low, I think it should have a very low IBU on it. Let's take a look here. Let's see if it's on here. But I could be wrong. It's not on here. But I know how to find out. Yeah. We got the internet.
Yeah, well, no, I also have a craw.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
And I can put this fluid in the craw.
Yeah.
We'll know where it's sitting.
Yeah.
But and
also,
you got something else here, too.
Yeah, this is a quadruple.
The sixth glass.
The sixth glass.
So if our friends should ever see something, here, let me give you what you need. If our friends should ever see something like double, triple, and now quadruple, what are they actually looking at when they see that?
More ingredients. It's essentially stating that there are more ingredients and typically a higher level of ABV because of that.
Now, is it more ingredients because there's multiple rounds of fermentation?
No. It's just that you're going to be putting in triple what you would normally put in for this style of beer.
I was not right about this then. I've always thought that represented, because there's a lot of those like Abbey style ales that can be re-fermented.
Yeah.
And like I always assumed it was like double and triple, like each time they'd added more sugars and fed the yeast.
No, it's just a lot heavier of a beer.
That is, I would say that's my brand, coming up with incredibly elaborate etymologies that are so refined and excellent that I never look them up.
But what's really neat about this is exactly what you were talking about. This is a beer that you would have wild yeast come into it.
For sure.
Right? You know, the way the monks did it was you had this vat that was in the ground.
Yeah.
Full of wort. And you would just let the yeast do their thing, flow into the beer.
What do you mean when you say in the ground?
Like literally
you mean
in the ground.
below?
No, like right on the surface. Like you'd cut a hole in the ground, put a vat down there. That's how it ferments. Open. It's an open fermentation.
Indeed, I know about the top part, but I didn't know that they were buried.
Well, buried in the sense that the container is buried, lid is still subject to the wild.
For sure. Yeah, see, because that's where all the drawing of the dark stuff is from. That book where it was basically about mysticism and brewing, basically, and it's always described that. So in that, I think there's actually they basically placed something like that over a saint's grave or something like that, and great, so the richer stuff down at the bottom, there's some grave muck. But it imparts the
power. It's like putting a saint's bone in the altar, right?
Yeah, it's the same thing, but this is like ritualized drinking.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's a fucking sick ass book.
Wild.
That author has nothing but amazing books, including the incredible Declare. So if you'd like to get a lot of people touch on World War II and mysticism.
Yeah,
there's a lot of OSS and
there's so much stuff.
Wolfenstein, that happens too, but. There is a really interesting overlap there between World War II, but then specifically Middle Eastern mysticism.
Interesting.
Oh man, it's too much. It's too fucking much. I was bewitched end to end on that thing. Hey, so what are we gonna do? Where are we gonna go first?
I think we start with the Bière de Gare. And then, this is going to ruin our palate. After we're going to be done.
The quadruple.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see what we got here. Okay.
Viking goat. Yeah, it used to be an old practice, and maybe still done today in the Roman Catholic Church, that you would take a piece of a saint and put it in the altar of the church.
A reliquary.
Yep.
Dude, you have to smell it. You nailed it. It's a Saison, but the malt. So
super
Saison,
malt forward.
Yeah, Saisons tend to be, not thin, like in the classic sense, but they definitely sort of rest somewhere between an ale and a sour.
Absolutely.
Like they're not, body is not the focus, but this you can tell as soon as you open the bottle that malt is going to be part of the conversation. Generally speaking, that's not
what
really
what you're going for.
It's mostly spice. It has that tart tang. God, what a fucked up color. That is fucking wild.
Huh.
Do you have a camera for that?
Yeah.
Crazy, yeah. Because usually these are very light in color, right? They're very golden.
Well, no, they look like a cider
or a pale or a
very
pilsner.
very exactly. Yeah. It's golden really. Here,
look at that. That's wild.
All right, let's see what we're talking about here.
Ooh, buddy.
Yeah, here. So hop bitterness and grapefruit zest, floral and apricot notes. No problem with that. Okay.
I'm gonna like this and probably screw up all my
so
minis.
Rich, it's like I would say that it has a richness.
Yeah.
Bordering on broth.
Whoa.
No. One has to take it too far occasionally.
That's. That's fucking delicious.
So Saison is something that I think it's important for me to drink.
Well, it's not something that you normally would go for.
Exactly. And I drink it so that I can, again, iocane, right? Mm. I drink it so that I can approach something like intellectual appreciation of it, even if my body cries out.
Yeah, and
says no. Right? Having the malt as far in your face as this is, now there is like the rest of the conversation. Whenever I drink a Saison, I always feel like there's something missing. And I think it's because I'm always seeking some kind of like a balance in there.
Yeah, totally.
That can exist in a range.
Right.
But the things that are in there all have to agree with each other. Right? I am blown away by that.
Yeah, that's really.
But it is tart for real too, and I suspect some of that is probably the grapefruit. Resin is a big part of it, right?
But it's not tart like
No. It's
like
not
sour. It's not tart. It's not even tart like a Saison.
No, it's bitter.
Yeah.
Right. That's the issue. Well, that's the rind bitterness.
Yeah. Wow, I dig that beer.
Shocked and amazed.
Odd.
I feel yes. I wish that we had something akin to. I feel like we're fucking up here, because I feel like this demands glassware.
Right.
Right.
Like a tulip.
Well, no, exactly. Like I feel like we're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
Like the pint glass is not okay.
Yeah, it needs a tulip glass.
Right. Oh, that's murder.
Yeah, that's actually very phenomenally good.
Yeah, I strongly suspect we'll be coming back to this.
Yeah, my minis aren't going to look that great after this session.
Well, I got the Nuln oil, kid. You don't got to worry about it. Just get that Nuln oil on
Pure
there.
Pro. Wow.
I have mostly touch-ups to do when we hit 130. I have mostly touch-ups to do on my entire slate. Like a couple places that just to perfect, just because I know that Kiko would like it. There's a couple things I'm gonna go.
You're like living. I gotta live up to Kiko. I gotta make him proud.
I want Kiko to be proud.
I know.
But also, like when I was trying this stuff and I was trying to, I was engaging in a humility.
Okay.
That Kiko did not agree with. So then he dug around in my mini bag and brought minis out.
Yeah, and they look great.
Listen, they could go on the table. Let's say this. They're flat on the bottom.
He's doing it again.
They won't fall over. See, Kiko's not here.
You can't rush in with the models. It looks fucking fantastic.
But there's just a few, like a pauldron here.
Yeah.
Just a touch up here or there. Obviously, I want to get in some red. Do you have a yellow that is not metallic?
No, because I think all of the yellows that I have are for my Stormcast right now.
Oh, okay.
And they're all metallics. It's all golds.
Maybe I have something.
Yeah.
Maybe I have something from my old kit. But the main thing is that I want to put that yellow in the sodium lights on the shoulder. But I also want to paint the rest of the saw. The rest of it like an industrial, like a still saw.
Well, yeah. You could paint it yellow, but then do like the black strips going across. Like it looks.
I'm intimidated by those. I mean, that's the classic way to do
Yeah.
it. I've seen people do that, but I don't know how I would get those strips done correctly. Well, we can investigate.
Yeah.
In any case, so that was that. That is the Saison concept perfected, I would say, with a more substantial middle to it. Let's see what's in here.
God, that is really good.
Do you ever read Annihilation?
No.
I get a little scared whenever I see Southern Tier.
Yeah.
I've always had good experiences with their beers, but it reminds me of Southern Reach, which is Annihilation and those other books are called the Southern Brew Trilogy. Like, those are legitimately disturbing.
Yeah, I really want to read those,
books.
and I haven't had a chance.
And there's another.
I'm actually mad at myself that I haven't read them yet. Ooh.
There's another. The terror doesn't end. Because when you think about how it was misappropriated in the film context, the fear and terror.
Daphnis, thank you.
Indeed. Now, so
22 months.
Again, like I feel like we just started the channel.
Right.
I mean, I remember like doing like a Christmas stream with Ryan. I think I think we were playing Forza Horizon 3.
God, the new Forza was great.
The new, that is the mainstream racing series right now. It was so funny. They actually invited me out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for the original Xbox when they were showing it off, and I was just like, "You guys understand that Gran Turismo is a thing, right? You know that you know that you can't possibly. You know that this is a waste of time."
Yeah, and then they said no, sorry.
Yeah.
Here's Horizon 4.
And I was wrong. And they put out a game that good every fucking year now. So.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So this is from our friends at Boulevard Brewing Co. 6 Glass. Yes, now that's nice too. Yeah, quadruples, any of those styles, any of these ale styles always have substantial malt structure.
Right, so this is interesting because I smell a lot of malt, but then it hits you with fruit, right? I'm getting like apples and pears coming off this.
Yeah.
Like off the back, there's some kind of fruit note.
Apple skin.
Oh, hello.
Now, ready? So, here's how rich it is. Here's how rich.
It's like a pie.
So after you get done drinking it, you can't touch your tongue to the roof of your mouth.
Yeah.
That's how syrupy it is.
But it's fantastic.
No, there is nothing wrong with it.
It tastes like drinking a pie.
No, that's the thing. So it's sort of like that with barley wines, right?
Yeah.
So there's that middle period where, and we have the benefit of knowing, we've done a couple, you have that middle period where it's still hot and it's not integrated. And that's kind of a big presence.
Right.
Like the alcohol is right in your face. If you give it enough time to chill out, all of a sudden it's like smooth and it's like raisin, mincemeat sort of thing. This should be brutal.
Yeah, but it's not.
Given the ingredients and given the process, it should be pretty mean.
Yeah.
But this is actually really smooth and good.
Yeah, and it's not syrup. Like it doesn't have the barley wine syrupy consistency.
No, it still hasn't. It has something like an ale, but it hangs around way longer than you'd think.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's all malt. It's all malt.
It's almost borderline
Criminal.
Like apple cider donut. That's for some reason. That's what it reminds me of the fall with like an apple going to an orchard.
No, that's quite good. That is quite good. It is definitely. I would say it is fall crisp.
Fall crisp. There's something there. That's a cool name.
Exactly right. No. I think that you
fall
have
crisp is like a
you have contained it.
Weird.
It's a new
area.
single
it's a
word.
Region. Yeah.
Because it's the warming effect of the malt.
Yeah.
It has the cider. It has the cider presence from the aroma. Yeah, that's a really weird mesh of sense memories there. All right, hey, so as we're putting this down, why don't we tell them about our trip?
Let's do that.
Hey,
we can show them about our trip.
Indeed, here I will make this pretty for you, Jack. Do you see how I perfect it? Do you see how I give people a great experience? And then I flex Clue's awesome cup here. So, it's like this.
Like this and like that. Like
So
this
we were.
and,
It's like
that.
this. So we were.
like that,
We went
and
down
like-
to 2 beers.
2 beers?
Is that still sodo?
Yes.
It's so.
Ish.
It's so
sodo.
sodo, right? It is even farther past where you'd expect. So there's a thing here. I suspect this happens everywhere, but it's very, very present here because the same sorts of things keep going into them. There's definitely a push there's a lot of reclamation of formerly industrial space.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is becoming breweries of various stripes.
Yeah.
We also have a lot of breweries here that seem to start in active space.
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, even Two Beers, they were in
like work areas where you have like a project space
Yeah.
that you keep all your stuff in, and you can do tastings and stuff there. It's not illegal or anything. A lot of weird laws around alcohol, but it's possible to do a kind of tasting
absolutely.
in that context. And so the Two Beers spot where the event that we're going to have takes place is out front. It is in that vein. Out here, it's like, but it's at least it's chromatic, right? It isn't just like old metal. It's like they've clearly redone all the facades.
Right.
But as soon as you pop into it, it is rustic as fuck.
Yeah.
Like it's a whiplash-inducing event to go from the door inside that place.
Exactly.
And so what you're going to see as you go in is obviously there's a risen area over here, tables all around, a sort of booth section over to your right, but then there's a nice, a big square bar, like a couple brackets.
U-shaped bar.
Exactly.
Shoe horse.
Exactly. And so when we do the event, and of course when we do the live show as well.
Which there might be more spots opening up because they think they can fit more people in.
They think, it's true. They think that they might be able to get more people in there than we thought. And so the batches of beer that we made were made with that in mind. So, we're never going to do it so that there isn't enough for everybody, but we think we might be able to fit as many as 150 people at the event. Just based on, they're going to have to move some stuff. There's going to be some pallet jacking, right? But we're going to get it
perfectly natural.
We're going to get it scooched over, and it's going to be good. But get a load of this. So then we'll be running the show. So just like we do this show here, because it's going to be a real episode of the show. Even if you can't come to the event, you'll be able to come to the show. Just the way that you always do at the time that you always arrive. So it's going to happen in real space, but there's going to be a stream component as well. It isn't separate. And we're going to run the show, much as we do here behind, obviously, our C-Team table, from behind the bar.
Yeah.
Like, I could not be more pleased. Thanks, Most Ugly. Like, we're going to be behind it is fucking ridiculous.
Incredible. Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect. And so I spent some time behind that bar, just trying to make sure that everybody would be able to see me, what I was doing. I'd be able to talk to everybody from there. It's we're heading to our friend Dan, who's obviously been on the show a couple times. He might even be in the channel for all I know. But I really do think it's going to be a special event. I don't think it's common. I don't think that what we're doing is normal, which is sort of our brand, I guess. But it's going to be completely dumb. It's going to be completely dumb. And it's going to be even dumber than I had suggested previously, because over the course of our time there, we sort of put together what we think is a really interesting menu.
Meaning we got drunk.
This also happened. But Laheshiel, look farther up in
Holy crap, you're here.
In the chat, and you will find the link to the Two Beers. I know what's up. I know exactly what we're doing here. And so
I didn't see him in the office.
The truth is, he was back in the corner. Are you numb?
No, it's just a cleaning.
That's fine. It
might have some fluoride aftertaste.
Yeah.
Well, that'll be piquant. Now, so we have got some stuff that I think you might like. So in that
is it beer?
Definitely.
I don't like it.
But in that Saison, we've had Saisons in the past. So this apparently, the Saison, here it is in Belgium, right? Same style, but executed through a French lens instead. So
it's got an
Saison,
interesting
it does indeed.
All malt.
You're gonna be blown away. So
all time.
It's because it has those novel tastes and that sort of spiciness we associate with
you can tell I came from Napa. I'm swirling.
Yeah, right.
But it has that, but then it has a substantial malt presence that a regular Saison doesn't.
Ooh.
It's not crisp like a Saison. It is robust.
Yeah, that is
kind of neat.
Pretty neat, right?
Yeah.
I think it's really cool.
See, I'm a tough. You guys end up having a drunk mini painting party during the show too. That's probably
Just maintain
the whole
Scotch
structure.
ales and you guys
the
just,
metaphor.
Yeah.
All right, here. So that's very, very interesting, right? Now we have something else special for you to try,
Have you tried both of these
Mr.
already?
Kelson.
yourself?
Indeed,
Okay.
indeed. We were actually
Coming late. I
No, it's all
apologize.
good, man. You gotta take care of your mouth. But we were just talking to them about
Get that mouth. That creamy mouth feel.
because Jeff. Yeah, so this is a quadruple, which I didn't know was a style, but that's fine.
Quadruple?
Yeah, we've heard doubles and triples.
Like a quadruple Bach?
yeah.
Like a double Bach?
Yes.
Except
It's a quadruple Belgian. So
Yeah.
just
That
think,
tastes like 4 Belgians.
Yeah.
put into a one bottle.
Yeah,
It's like a
exactly.
clown car of Belgians.
Compressed.
You know, you pop open the top and poop.
I thought Shriner Box were a whole different thing.
No, they emerge. They
Hey,
emerge.
I'm a Shriner, shut up.
So give
I'm
it
not
a
making fun of them.
chop. What we found from this is just like
man.
yeah, it's just a
it's
good
just smooth.
Exactly. I expected, especially from the aroma, I expected it to
What's the ABV on this?
steal my lunch money.
Nothing, north
crazy.
of 10.5.
10.5. Well, they
Yeah,
put some
it's
gooey
like
duck in there to
10.5.
take the edge off?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just to minimize it, or maybe the gooey duck is now within us and it's modified
I
everything.
do have to tell you, so I recently opened a Russian Imperial Stout that was barrel aged. I think it was bourbon, and the first sip was very medicinal. Like the first one, I was like, whoa!
Yeah, it's
My
the top
very
layer.
first thought is this could use some gooey duck, which is the most bizarre thought I've ever had drinking beer in my life.
No, this strange creature has we have been colonized by this creature, and now it's like, well,
it's like a
gooey duck-
parasitical.
Yeah, exactly. It's like our first thought is that, well, what couldn't be improved by a gooey duck?
Yeah, like I want to try it in everything.
Exactly.
Were you guys talking about your?
Well, yeah, see, because you and Eric had already been out. Oh, nice. You got some shots? Kick ass. You and Eric had already been out, and it had met with. I mean, the venue had met with Jeff's approval, and so I knew that it was going to work, but I didn't know that it was going to be beautiful.
Yeah, it's utterly gorgeous.
Like,
It's a fantastic venue.
yeah. So did you also spend some time over by the
bar?
tanks? Well, yeah,
No, I was completely concerned with front of house.
Yeah.
Load in, load outs.
Cool.
All that stuff.
Well, Jack, if you can put Eric's screen up, we can sort of give people a little bit of a tour because, well, like you'll see, so this is where we spent most of our time.
Yeah.
And so you'll see here, this is sort of like, is this their pilot system, the 7-barrel?
So, no, the 7-barrel isn't their pilot system. The 7-barrel is their actual system.
Oh, they really do use that. That's
Yeah.
a production system, in
So-
addition to the ones they have in the back.
Yep, so guys, you'll see on the far left, that giant tank that says caution hot is a hot liquor tank. And liquor, we just mean water.
Yeah.
But that's the term in brewing. So that's where all the hot water is going to be derived for the brewing process. The tank to the right is called a whirlpool tank, which allows for heating once the wort is finished. And the beer, or the tank to the right of that is going to be the mash tun. But you'll notice in front of that is what we brewed on, which was a little...
It's like a stair step, right?
Yep,
So
it's
they
a
have a
stair-
machine. They have their own machinist
Yep.
that put together what has got to be considered just an optimal homebrew setup.
Right, but what the amazing thing is, it's no different from what you would buy at a local homebrew store
It's the
or
same.
online. This is the same process, the same exact setup that you would get
Yeah.
to do all grain brewing at your house.
So there's 2 steps. So you can see the middle step there at the bottom of the image.
Yep,
But
it's
know
down here.
this, friends. There is another.
In fact, a third
There is
step.
in fact a third step below. Each of these, any part of this has, and imagine, go back to the very first one, the tall one there. So at the very bottom, there's something like you would have for a grill. There's a propane tank.
So here's the thing: these are analog to the bigger vats behind.
Yeah.
So this small little one on top here,
Yeah.
that's the caution hot tank. That's the hot liquor tank.
Yep.
The one that would be right here is going to be the mash tun.
Mash tun.
And then the one below that we can't see is where the boil of the wort happens.
Exactly.
And that's it.
And so mounted underneath these layers, you can see the actual propane setup, right?
And this is a better shot.
yeah.
that.
So this is the
So this is the mash tun, and we are pouring in the grains to start the protein rest or the dough in.
Right.
And then
It's the first stage.
Yep, this is where the grains will hit the water and we start to extract the sugars from them.
And so you can see Eric has a big old spoon there, and then depending on the size of the thing, I mean, obviously a much larger device will manage this for you, but it is absolutely vital that you know that everything that we're going to be trying at the event was literally handmade
Yep.
by us using this stair-step system here. And so we're throwing the grains in there, and it's being mixed. You can see the hot water coming out. It's being mixed a little bit at a time until it becomes something like a hot cereal, right? And then get a load of this. So I don't think we have a picture of the spreader, right? The spreader that we attached to the hot water tank.
Yes, it's called. So what that is called a sparge arm, or a fly
arm.
sparge.
Oh, there we go. And so basically, what it does is instead of coming out as a single in a single tank, like from the spigot, essentially it goes out. It's something like some
shower
coffee
head.
machines have this. Yeah, it's basically a shower head for the dough in, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it goes out. And it rests around the top, and then it makes sure that it makes sure that it's going out through the entire process of the grain.
Well, what it's there for is, so we have there are steps to brewing, right? And
Indeed.
So you do your dough in, then you bring it up to temperature and you let it sit at about 154 degrees because we're going for a medium-bodied beer. The temperature determines the body of the beer, and then once that is done, we do a mash out.
Yes.
And that's usually at 168 degrees. That stops the process of the sugars being converted.
Yeah.
And then, what Jerry's talking about, we use the sparge arm to hit it with more water, and it's like a shower, because it literally is a shower head.
No, you will be fascinated by this.
It's
I
a
love
shower
process.
for the beer, for the grains, to get the remaining sugars off of the grains.
wash,
And
right?
into the wort.
Now, tell them about the Vorloff.
Oh,
This is the name of my D&D character.
Yeah, exactly.
It should be,
yeah,
yeah,
dude,
Vor-
honestly, that name would be sick.
Yeah.
It's a vampire hunter.
yeah.
For sure.
Vorloff.
So, but get a load of this.
So when you see us using the Pico, it is constantly doing a Vorloff, which is kind of like the Vortex, yes.
Yeah, exactly.
But what it does is it takes, in this process, we literally take water or the malt that's coming out of the bottom of the mash tun and pour it back over the top of the mash, because the mash
With
acts.
pictures.
Yeah, with
Right?
pictures. Sometimes you can use pumps too, but typically, on the homebrew scale, you're using pictures. But what it does is it creates its own mesh strainer, because these small
From the
little
husks.
particles are getting strained through the bigger particles. So the beer, after pouring it over so many times, comes out clear at the bottom. And then it goes into your wort.
Natural strainer.
It's a natural strainer made from the husks of the fucking grain, Jeff.
That's pretty cool.
From the husks.
So, had you ever had the opportunity to brew? Because you've been brewing for a long time, in an actual brewery setting before? Like, had you had that experience before?
Oh yeah, you do this all.
Yes,
You do
we have friends.
You do this all the time.
Well, but it's different than doing it in your kitchen.
No, there is nothing different in this process. There's nothing different than doing it in your kitchen.
It's shinier.
No, I literally have that in my kitchen. Except for the Pico brew. I just don't have to set it up anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally, this is the same setup that I have at my house
Interesting.
before I got the Pico.
And again,
And now I'm just lazy.
We just made you get up really early on
Yeah.
a weekend.
Yeah.
Now, the room to the left of this is nothing but gigantic mash tuns and other stuff that it's much, much larger. So the very next room is like 30-gallon as opposed to 7-gallon.
So really, the only difference is scale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally, the only difference is scale.
I know you used to go to a place in Edmonds that did homebrew.
Indeed, we used to go to
stuff.
Gallagher's where you brew.
Yeah.
And so those were, gosh, I mean, if I had to guess now, I mean, we would pour like 6 cases out of those. So I'm trying to think about the size of the kettle they had there. Gosh, I mean, it must have been maybe 20 gallons.
Yeah.
Much smaller scale, but I mean, bigger than the Pico, obviously,
yeah.
but still
Was that
very intimate.
Was that your first time doing homebrew?
Well,
was
yeah,
that at that facility?
Exactly. So, and it happened because my friend Pork, you know Pork.
No, I know.
When I say Pork, of course, I mean Greg Yertiger. So
It's pork fry.
Well, so we had to return a keg as one does after a party, right? And so we were bringing it back, and I was like, we should investigate brewing. Like, we really enjoy all this stuff. Like, we should figure it out. And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, not yeah. I'm not fucking around
actionable.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, no. It's like everybody's always like, oh, yeah, we should. And it's like, no, let's actually fucking do it. And then he and I have made, more than 10 batches together out there. We have a bunch of crazy recipes. We have recipes we haven't executed on the show yet. I should bring some of the recipes in so we can take a look at them
totally.
and see if they can't be repurposed.
Yeah.
Gosh, I wonder. I genuinely wonder if we're going to get to the making beer portion of the show. There's too many. There's too many.
We got
stories.
time. We got time.
There's actually too many stories to tell. So
Everyone wants to know if you sang. Did you forget to sing?
I did not. There was a lot of rubbing.
Yeah, there was and we're not just talking about the fermenters.
There was a lot of rubbing.
That was after you guys went to the brewery.
Underdog, I'd be happy to post a picture on my Twitter later today of me with hair. It's a real thing. So it's a real thing. But you know what? This
I want to see him with like a hair, like an Elvis hair.
Yeah, this stocking cap
seen
here
it.
is actually from a dear friend from Oz. And it is actually from a brewery in Australia.
Really? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's cool.
It seemed like the right hat to. It seemed like the right hat to bring because it was early in the morning. Like we were getting out here putting in work.
Hey, listen.
He's stirring a thing full of grains. I mean,
Doesn't matter
not
to
a
me.
small
We had
thing.
Beth's that morning. So
Oh no, Beth's is a demonic venue.
yeah.
Oh, you guys went and
We went to Beth's.
Yeah,
then
all right,
we went
Beth's
down to the
Cafe.
brewery, and I'm like,
12-egg omelet.
I think I could do the 12-egg omelet after having the 6-egg. I think I could do it.
I'll get out of your hair, but
Do you think-
I am super excited to do this. I hope that so many of
It's
our
gonna be
viewers.
magic.
I mean, we're having occasional people drop out, so if you did sign up and you didn't hear anything, I'm trying to. My first replacements are people who did sign up to try to get in.
Sure.
If
But
you
they're-
didn't get in the first time, or if you signed up and you can't make it, just respond
let us
back
know.
and we
Let
can
us know.
let us know so we can get your name on the list.
And Dan also mentioned he might have more spots if he hasn't emailed you yet.
He has not emailed me yet.
He said he might be able to find about 50 more spots.
Okay. I'm getting a lot of positive response internally from people that want to bring
All
plus
of a sudden,
ones,
All of a sudden.
which you don't see a lot of plus ones when we're streaming today on Tuesdays,
No,
but
dude.
employees want to bring their spouses.
So drop down a mail real quick.
I will. Yeah.
Make sure that we know the threshold so that we can get as many people from the
yeah,
chat as
yeah. It's I'm really looking forward not only to the tasting everything simultaneously with the viewers, but socializing afterwards.
It is the optimal scenario.
The other thing, too, that we have not mentioned,
Well, which thing?
Oh, now I'm scared.
War Priest will be on tap.
You. See,
leveraged
I would have
it.
held that. I would have held that close
indeed.
to my vest, and I wouldn't have said anything until
Nope.
I was
No.
at the venue.
I want people to know that
Yeah,
War Priest
No.
is going to be there.
So hold on. You
Yeah.
said it's on tap.
Well, we're going to...
It's part of the tasting,
Yeah.
so it's not available additionally afterwards.
No.
Could-
Not
depends-
yet.
yeah, not yet.
Not yet. Here, we will tell the rest of the story.
God damn it!
So here, Godspeed.
All right, it's my Nintendo training. Never reveal the big secret
no,
until
yeah.
the day.
This is pro.
No, that's pro, but I want people to know because I want people excited.
Yeah. So get a load of
And
this.
also, on your way down, tell Mike we have a bottle for him.
You want him to try
the banana bread.
Banana bread.
You.
Now, listen to this. So, as we were going through this process, we had the conversation with Dan and the lead brewer. He does not refer to himself as a master brewer.
No.
He's very...
It's Jesse.
Yeah, Jesse. But he's very, very, guarded about that. We talked to him about it. It's like, well, is there, a specific process? And it's like, no. It really is. It's about what you can do. So this motherfucker has won...
Yeah, awards.
a brew festival award for his amber.
Yeah,
which
but
is
not
classic
a brew
style.
festival, one of the brew festivals.
But even then,
Yeah.
he's like, no, I don't consider myself a master brewer. But at a certain level, right? I get it.
Well,
Because
it's the same thing. It's there is not one
It's any
creative
crea-
department where you don't have an imposter syndrome effect,
no,
right?
But the best part about it, right, is that it's like even the awards. So just file this away for your own purpose. He literally has the awards, and he's still like, yeah, I can make beer. It's I love it. It's it's something that I really I appreciate.
Yeah.
I love making this for other people, seeing them enjoy it. He still just can't say the words.
No.
Like, it'd be true. It's like if if I tried to have a conversation with somebody and I tried to say what I was, I would have a very hard time saying what I actually am, which is a writer, just because it just seems like a jerk thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It just seems like a jerk thing to do, even though literally that's all I fucking do. Anyway, so get a load of this, because it's even wilder than what I've just described. So the War Priest, first of all, we are so pleased to have that as one of the taps on the paddle. Yeah. And that's going to be so good. But it's even crazier. So you may recall the rich and robust history of Velvet Rope and Velvet Cape. Now, obviously we're not offering those because we came up with a specific beer based on the Human Fighter first session, right? And it's a smash. So part of its purpose is to help all of us, not just the attendee, but all of us understand these grains and these hops better, right? So Columbus, pretty classic hop.
Classic hop.
It's useful at any stage of hopping, right? Now, just because that's true, it's often used blended with other hops.
Yeah.
And so this is an opportunity with this smash for us to be like, okay, let's focus on this. We can all use this to calibrate ourselves on this particular malt and this particular hop. But get a load of this. Velvet Rope, Velvet Cape was so novel because sometimes on the show, we will decide that we have a certain build, but we want to express it two different ways.
Exactly.
And so it might be a dry addition after the fact, or even a different yeast. So the same ingredients, two different yeasts, completely different beers.
A tale of two yeasts.
Exactly. Yeah. It is absolutely true, though. Mouthfeel, head retention. I'm just saying the things from the singing. But you know what I mean. Each of these is going to express the same exact ingredients in different ways. And we hatched the plot while we were doing it to have the same beer to basically take our first session Human Fighter based beer and separate the wort out into two categories, two separate carboys, and use two yeasts on them. So the whole idea of this smash to begin with was to help us understand these ingredients.
Right, exactly.
Right, as brewers, proto-brewers, enthusiasts of the medium, right? Drunkards, for lack of a better term. We have already, it isn't even we are going to. We literally did it while we were there.
Yeah.
The yeast has been added to the two different batches. So not only are you going to have a chance to zero in on what makes those ingredients special, you'll have two different inflections of it to have a chance to see just how, profound the operation,
simple ingredient.
The operation of the yeast on the exact same ingredients.
Second wind. That's great.
I like it.
Way to go, SA.
Well, that's SA's brand end to end.
Yep.
Here. So go ahead and pass me the cues. Like I said, it's 12:45. We might just be answering questions today. I guess we'll see how it goes. Yeah. And also, I got to throw something out here to two beers in general. The original plan was to have two beers taps, and then the one that we made. But while we were having the conversation, it was perfectly fine. And now they're talking about. One hesitates to speak outside of school, of course, but they have can runs and a full can line in the back there, and they were talking about wanting to operate some kind of a run, like a canned run of Acquisitions Intoxicated / Acquisitions Incorporated beer with like a real label and stuff, which is pretty crazy since I think of this primarily as something I do to fuck around on Twitch. But maybe there's some information there. Maybe there's a crucial piece of information for everyone who is just fucking around on Twitch.
Oh, that's a good idea. An impromptu this old Lair.
For sure.
That'd be fucking rad.
Oh, that's easy peas. Nothing would bring us more pleasure. Hey, if you have questions, here. Let's just redirect it right here. If you have questions about, because the day is so novel in its construction anyway, keep in mind that at 1:30 instead of seizing the machinery and then sending it over to Mike Rahulik, we're going to seize the machinery and put it over to a pause screen, get all of our minis out, and go right away. Just because he's already drawn up through Friday because of PAX East. And PAX East has manifested itself in various ways, and we are powerless to resist it. Now, what you should do in the channel, using the hashtag question before your question, if you have stuff in your home campaign, you as a player for D&D, there's no reason why we can't answer these sorts of questions right now. If you want some world building help, name suggestions, if there's any way that we can be useful to you in a D&D context or any role playing, obviously, put us to work right now. Just because if we only have 40 minutes left, I mean, let's make the most of it. Let's see if we can be of use to you.
Ooh, that's a good question. Favorite obscure planes of existence? Got some portals in my game that are going to be opening.
Well, my favorite stuff for the portals, like portals, obviously. My favorite stuff in terms of portals is the quasi-elemental planes.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Right?
Yeah.
It's so bunks, but I can never remember the full list of them. So Athos, because there's no gods in Athos in the classic sense, like there isn't like a pantheon. All the best they've got is evil sorcerers.
Yeah.
Who eat 1,000 hit dice of innocent commoners at a time.
Yeah. But that was the way you had to like
Templars.
Yeah.
Were basically clerics of draconic gods.
Yeah.
But these draconic gods were just people who had
sacrificed thousands and thousands and thousands of souls.
It's a grotesque thing, but there are also elemental priests who derive their abilities from that. But the quasi-elemental planes were one of the interesting ways you could get new types of priests, right? And so instead of like the earth, air, fire, water stuff.
Yep. Well, you had the negative planes, positive planes.
Yep. Here, so the para-elemental planes are smoke, ice, ooze, and magma. And the quasi-elemental planes are, gosh, what is it? Lightning, mineral, radiance, and steam. And then around the negative energy planes are vacuum, dust, ash, and salt.
Exactly.
So imagine what priests of these like really novel
But yeah, exactly. And then to use
elements
those,
are
right. What if you had a dust priest come in? You know what I mean? The fun that you could create with just that
for
small
sure.
little concept of an NPC that uses that plane of existence.
No, it's too good. It's just because they had that elemental focus. I mean, of course, they needed those other edges, right?
Yeah.
And they're very, very dangerous. Very, very dangerous.
Yeah. Someone had asked in the chat about what's the best way to start a Vampire Chronicle.
Oh, this man knows.
And the best way to do that is your relationship chart. That
was the first thing you did before the game even started.
Yeah, that's session 0. And you're going to have so much fun creating that relationship chart because it's going to have your players start to interact with each other and create their own stories. Collaboratively create their story.
And this is the thing, like the ultimate trick, in the same way that like the best trick the devil ever pulled, the ultimate trick that a dungeon master can pull is to make the players do all the work.
Exactly, and that's exactly what it does. Because after they have created that, you've already got your story. Because they've talked about past acquaintances, they talked about what they like about the other people in the party.
They've built meaningful relationships.
Yeah.
And they've done it collaboratively.
Exactly.
Which just puts a little structure underneath it.
Yeah.
Right?
And then you can tell multiple stories just from this one little relationship chart. So if I could say anything, do not skip that process for both you and your players' sake.
Yeah, no, SA's looking for a Dank Loot reunited beer for Walnut and Brahma.
All right.
I think that'd be a great topic. As soon as once we roll back from East,
A Dank Loot, I like that.
we will place that up for the vote, and I suspect it will do well. E-Cross, I've been playing Sekiro a lot. Never thought about brewing a sake. I don't know what that would take.
It's just rice wine.
I mean,
it's not hard.
Well, basically, is it you would operate the beginning of it more or less how we always do.
Yep.
So there'd be a boil, and we would be extracting rice sugars instead.
Yep.
And then we would operate on it with the yeast and leave it alone.
Yep.
Okay. That sounds great.
Could do.
I definitely, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely a fan of the form. I think it's quite good. Thraptastic says, have you seen the latest Hot Date Humble bundle released today? Visual novels and dating sims, including genital jousting. No.
What?
I'm familiar with the game. I have not seen that particular thing, though. But that doesn't include Dream Daddy? Isn't that a part of that bundle as well? Let's see.
Wait. Genital jousting? What?
It's feel free to look it up.
No, I'm good for now.
It's one of the few games that Twitch has banned.
Twitch has banned genital jousting?
Correct.
This is ridiculous. Wait, what? I'm sorry.
Yeah, so you gave in now. You gave in.
I'm Googling it, and I get genital herpes is the first thing that comes up.
Genital jousting, be sure to put in game.
So if you want just an overview,
Yeah.
you are a penis
I'm with you so far.
with balls
Okay.
fighting other penises with balls.
The entire apparatus.
Whoa! He just got a
by,
corkscrew stuck up his.
and you
penis
eliminate
ass.
other peni by hitting them, spearheading them into the balls.
These balls have their own butt?
This dick just got hit by a truck.
But hold on, but this dick also has like a pearl necklace and a
They were playing Dick Pictionary.
Yes, there
Dictionary.
are cosmetics.
Dictionary, yeah. Whoa, that is a rush of dicks hitting another dick.
And there
It's not circumcised.
there appears to be a trail of fluid.
The dick is playing Brick Breaker.
Hold on, the dick is
Why does the dick have an
hang on.
anus?
I thought this was like a hold on.
The dick just shit out a cell phone.
Hold on. I thought it was like a party game.
This is a party,
This video
just not in pants.
hang on.
It was dick skating.
This video appears to be
Was the dick just playing Tinder? The dick was playing Tinder.
Yeah, this
Dick
video appears to be about penises that go to the gym and go to work.
That dick had the Leaning Tower of Pisa shoved up its ass. You know, you don't see that much these days. Just saying.
There's a lot going on there. Yeah, thanks, Twap. Yeah, real nice work. Let's see. S.A. Wells, do you drink Saison in order to be the sort of person who drinks Saison? No. I drink Saison so that I can challenge my palate. But honestly, I would probably much more prefer the Bearded Guard, which has the additional malt character and is satisfying. Here,
Oh my God, you literally form a human dictipede.
Yeah.
I don't like the fluid.
That's what gets you? Not the dick and dick action?
Look, yeah, I'm fine. I can work that.
Ooh, that's a rattle dick.
But
at
yeah,
that
I
thing.
don't know why that one is so long. All right. Anyway, there's a lot going on here. Now, Reduced Sanity, hooray for Tuesday, my favorite PA TV programming lineup. Thank you so much. Always good tips there during the painting phase. Have you ever considered doing a Boucher or other out there meat style? What's a Boucher? Let's look it up.
Okay.
Maybe we have considered it and we don't know that that's what it's called.
Is it a Bobby Boucher? How do you spell that?
It looks like Boucher.
I got Edward Boucher.
No, you made it too cool. That's Boucher. And that's Bouchette. No, Bochet.
Oh.
I've never heard of a Boucher.
Type of mead that is made from honey that has been caramelized.
Oh, okay. So that's very similar to that German style you were
Yeah,
talking about.
absolutely. Yeah. That'd be really fun to do.
You basically reintroduce it. You know what Reduced Sanity. It's possible you weren't hanging around with us on Tuesdays during that time. Back in when was it? It was a while ago. What was the company that sent us all those cool meads?
Oh, they're in Texas.
Yeah.
Enchanted Meatery.
Enchanted Meatery. So they sent us a bunch of really cool stuff, including like a Earl Grey mead.
Oh, the Earl Grey was fantastic.
But they also had a style that had a caramelized, like re-caramelized honey addition. And it was incredible. I would be more than happy to investigate that.
Yeah,
Of
absolutely.
course, in order to properly do that, we would need some of our more elaborate setup stuff, and then micro homebrew.
Yeah.
The convection thing that they had would be perfect for doing that
absolutely.
on the show.
100%.
So it might be fun to roll him back in too.
Yep.
But no, honestly, dude, after the success, and I think it is unqualified, after the success of the mead that we made with Holly, I mean, that should be a normal thing that we do on the show.
Well,
First of
I still
all,
want to make a wine for Ryan. That's another thing we need
yes, yes. And it would take it a while for it to get
to
to
absolutely.
where it's
Well, much like
friendly.
mead.
Yeah, for sure. But I honestly can't, like, the quality of that output was so high. I just want that to be a normal thing that we do on the show. Fodwin says, hey, I got my first mini and plan on painting it this weekend. Any tips for a first-time mini painter, long-time artist? Man, you may be talking to the wrong person.
Yeah, we're first time everything.
We are definitely on the the younger side of that process, but we can tell you the things that we know from having done it on the show and before. The main thing is you want to thin the paints out a little bit with water. Do a couple strokes after you've done the mix. Do a couple strokes, kind of just. Actually, it's very exciting to get the mini and then paint the mini. I get that part, but just do the most basic forms of diligence.
Patience, discretion is the better part of valor.
Fode, maybe I can help you out with this. Like, maybe what I'll do is I'll just tell you how I do it incorrectly, and you can try to avoid those things. But for me, I really, really just want to get in there and do it.
Yeah.
And what I need to do is make sure that I have the right water to paint ratio. Make sure that I'm taking better care of my brushes as I do it, and don't paint directly from the pots. And I think as long as you observe those three things, I think that you'll be a step above me already. And Kiko says my minis are fine, so we'll try that. Will you guys end up having a drink? This is Samotep, a drunk mini painting party during the show. I mean, I should bring them just for the visual.
To have it,
the visual joke. I should bring the minties. I should bring the minis and set them up there. Did I sing to the grains at the brewery? This is tenuous. You know what? This is your brand, and I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I know what you're doing. Now, Seabread, is for someone wanting to get started, is there any recommendation for shops in the Seattle area, preferably East Side?
For what?
I don't know what they're trying to start.
For beer brewing, there is East Side. Shit, there is one on the East Side, but Kenmore. I can't recommend. I've been to a couple different brew shops in Seattle. You're not going to get a better place than Microbrew in Kenmore. Go in, tell them we sent you.
They just care too much.
They're amazing.
They care too much. Yeah, they'll hook you up.
Just go there and
Tony's there.
Well, any Tony. Tony the owner. Little Tony.
Tonys.
Yeah.
The little young Tony. Tony the lesser.
Yeah. They're all great. Their selection's phenomenal, and they're going to guide you through the process.
Now, when it comes to beers that we're going to sample on upcoming streams, do we have any in the can?
Yeah. Let me pull up this giant fucking list.
Yeah.
To remember what we have.
Because they're craving that update, right? They want to know what's going on.
Yeah.
You did Splash Zone?
Yeah. Yep. That's the one.
That's what's coming?
Yep.
What'd it do?
It's an American ale. I don't remember this fucking beer.
Let's see. Oh my gosh!
It
look
was
at the build.
orange with fruit, with orange put into it, and this had the Bravo.
Oof.
Maris Otter and wheat.
Oh my goodness gracious! Yeah, I remember now. I remember the conversation about the wheat.
And also 1 Foot in the Glaive.
Oh wow!
This was the one we did with Amy.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Which is mostly wheat. It's a wheat with Vienna malt in it.
Oh man!
And you remember when we were tasting you were chomping on the Vienna malt at the brewery?
Oh yeah, toast. No, Takun says I may have missed it, but a drunk phytologist chocolate mint beer get out on Strim.
No, we haven't.
You haven't missed it. There are so many recipes in there that we have yet to do for sure. But I still have the expertly prepared chocolate mint. Selleck PA wants to know who the best Jeff is in the audience. Come on, man. Let's see. How do we kill off the plague of Hawaiian T-shirts infecting the P offices?
Never.
You can't.
You can't.
It's just shirts.
Yeah, Tommy Bahamas all day long.
No, it's just shirts that are wearing people now. There's no true human.
Soon you're going to see the people disappear, just the shirts floating around.
It's just going to be some haunted ass shirts. It's going to be like cloakers, but like cloakers with garish prints. Ghostly wants to know about any suggestion for running big games from 10 to 15 people. That is a great question.
Yeah, super fun.
It is very, very fun. It really depends on how much time you have to prepare, I would say. The optimal scenario, at least for a very, very big game, in my opinion, is to cut it into 2 reasonably large games. Even 7 people, I think, is a lot. At least it could be connected just the way I do things, but even 7 people for me is a substantial game in terms of like the amount of like intellectual labor that's required to simulate that universe.
But what I would like to do, say it was 10 people.
Yeah.
I would take 5 and 5 and treat it as a dungeon race. Like there is some MacGuffin at the end of the dungeon.
That's interesting.
You know, you can DM both parties, but they're both racing at different angles of this dungeon to get to, or you bring in a second DM.
Yeah.
But they're racing to see who can get to this MacGuffin.
I think that's a really, really sweet thing. But I think the main thing, that actually goes into what I'm thinking too, which is that the best case scenario, if you have a very large group, is to have a plan.
Yep.
Because that sort of thing can spiral out of control big time.
Yeah.
You almost always want to have a secondary, something like a lieutenant, or just somebody to take some of that load off. Like a while back, I was playing, Mike and I DM'd a game that had basically, it was like a heist style game. And so one of the parties, like 7 or so people, they were like the front of house face type group.
Yeah.
That was all about like social manipulation, making sure that the security aspects of the facility were sort of tamped down a little bit. And then you had an actual like skullduggery style crew that was secondary, and we were able to work together on that. And then essentially there's certain things that each group can do that caused us to signal the other dungeon master and complicate things on each side.
That's great. It's like the old D&D epics that used to take place in the conventions 10 years ago, where
like a mega game type thing?
Yeah, mega games where all the tables were affecting this giant outcome.
Yeah.
But another way to do it, and Pathfinder did it really well with one of their modules, and I'm going to crucify this right now because I can't remember everything about it, but it was like Masks of the 10 Gods or something. But you needed 10 people to play.
Oh, really?
It actually required
the
that
game
many.
actually needed.
Yeah.
But I think that content for that level, like for that threshold, definitely it wants a custom plan because you can do things there. It shouldn't just be like a regular game that has more players. Although it'd be fine, but for you as the dungeon master, there is a lot of opportunities for you to do things in that context that you couldn't do elsewhere.
And you would love this because the concept of the story was first you had to be of a certain high level, maybe like level 10 or 12 or something. But you had to go in, and the point was each player had to tell the stories of their triumphs to the gods to appease the gods. It was more narrative than anything else. And you're telling all of these stories,
because
right?
10 or 15 people in initiative, like I would say as another tip, if you actually have a group that's that big, running 10 to 15 people plus enemies through initiative is grueling.
Yeah. I mean, if I was doing that...
Even if it's really cool, it's still grueling.
If I was doing a 10-person initiative, it would be The players go, mobs go. Players go, mobs go, and then you're done. So you don't have to, ping, 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 ping. They can all have their fun.
Yeah. And so, but I'm saying that I would do mostly RP of the type you're describing, and then I would have it culminate in a battle.
Yeah, and that's essentially what it was. But you had to win over these gods in order to essentially prove that you could fight this creature.
Yeah. That has a storyteller vibe to me. Under Dogag, when starting a homemade campaign, where's the best places to start? What questions should I have, markers or goals that I think of as a craft of the campaign? So, I mean, I'll tell you how the C team came about, and maybe that will be of use to you. So in the C team, I actually took a character that I already knew well, Omin Dran, and because that character had like a backstory that I'd come up with a long time ago, I knew quite a lot about them, and I also knew what his secrets were from other people. So it may be that you have a character that you really liked back in the day, and this is an interesting opportunity to bring them back to the fore, either as a foil or an ally for the characters, right? But once you've done that, then the main thing, once you've established that first part, the main thing is to get a really, really robust sense of who the players are.
Yeah, I'll go into your questions, because those are some really great ways to do that.
Yeah, so the first question is, what's your secret reason for joining the party? Even neophyte role players find something interesting in that, because they may not have had a secret reason for joining the party, but they have to have one. So now they have to think about their character a lot more. Who have you wronged? That's another piece of catnip for players, because almost certainly they have done that.
Yep.
But also it forces them to think about their character acting in a non-heroic context, and that's only going to benefit you as a dungeon master if they have a broader concept for their character. And then what would you kill to know? So that challenges them to put their character into an impossible situation and determine how they would react to it. So there's a lot of reasons. It's very, very good training for players, but once you have your basic hook, optimally it should be something that's intimate to you so that you can wing it if you need to. Then you start trying to figure out how those other characters mesh into the story, if you will. Seabread says, I have an area in my garage I thought I could use for brewing. What's the recommended square footage for a small setup? Man, you can get
10 by 10 at most.
At most.
Like you don't need much.
And in that 10 by 10, understand that that's also your physical operation as well.
Yeah.
That isn't just the equipment. You've seen from the image, really we're talking about a kind of stair-step system. You can build this with ease.
The system itself is maybe a 2 foot by 6 foot space. You can actually get a system that is literally goes from the ground up and it just goes straight up. And it's maybe...
Really?
Yep.
Does it route the fluid below or something?
Yep.
And so it's more like a...
It's gravity fed. So it's
hell yeah.
Boom, boom, boom. So it looks like a tree going down.
It's a more condensed version of the other thing.
Yeah, let me see if I can find it. I'll show you.
Dude, that's gross. That's deeply efficient. While you're grabbing that up, Rygar says, hey, I may be starting a campaign for some friends, but I have not DM'd in years. Do you have advice on how to refresh my knowledge on DMing?
Just say I'm Rygar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fuck, you don't need anything else.
Just tell them what your handle is, and
me?
you'll be fine. Jeez, they'll be intimidated as hell. No, the truth is, I hadn't DM'd for a while. I find DMing very stressful, actually. So I had not run a regular game before the C team for a very long time. I've done the occasional one-off.
Can you, before we get into that, can you switch over? This is the setup. And that's it.
That's brilliant.
If you want to spend $600, but
I was just going to say, but then look at the...
each one has a burner, and it's literally just a little tree.
Yeah, and it's designed to... I mean, obviously that's all welded steel and everything. But look, I mean, you just attach that bottom thing to the same thing you'd attach... It's a propane tank for a grill.
Yep. So
you're ready to go.
That look familiar?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, like his was less
just
elaborate.
This way, yeah.
But this is also stationary as well. I guess they have that advantage too.
So
no, I'd never seen anything like that, dude. That's dope.
That's all the space you need.
Yeah, an altar. So the main thing I would say about coming back into DMing after having not done it for a while is that you'll be surprised how much of it comes back. And the main thing to remember is that players don't fucking know anything. So, and I don't mean I don't want to disparage players as a people. It's not like that. It's that they don't know the story. I would say it's the hardest thing for you as a dungeon master, especially if you're feeling anxious, you're coming back into it after a while, maybe you don't have it. They don't actually know any of the information, and what's more, they don't know that you're nervous.
Yeah, and I always say the best skill a dungeon master has is to listen, right? And because
you have to throw that lever over to listen and leave it there.
Yeah.
Because they will run the whole game for you.
Exactly. And the best thing you can do is just shut up, listen to what they're saying at the table, and be like, well, what if this happens? What if the DM does this? What if he does that? Take one of those ideas, use it, and they'll be like, you're the most amazing DM in the world. And it was literally just their idea. And you
Well, yeah, I mean, the truth is, God only knows what that says about human nature.
Yeah.
But if you just repeat what a person says back to them, they'll think that you're smart. So do that.
Yeah.
Any ideas for one-shot adventures to capture new players? This is from Red Larch. Oh, that's the easiest. Yeah, heists.
Heists are great. Always great.
Heists. Oh, my gosh. Everybody likes it. And also, everybody recognizes the arc. Can I get you some of this?
Sure.
Everybody recognizes the arc, right? You have the planning.
Well, it's very simple,
You have the
right?
job.
Yeah.
You have the plan, right? And then you have the execution. And then the denouement can be very short depending on how badly they fucked it up.
Yeah.
But that's really it. Heists, everybody recognizes the structure of that 3-act story.
Yeah.
Like just implicitly.
Right.
And they will find themselves slipping right in. Also, heists tend to have players with specific jobs. And so it doesn't just help the dungeon master, it helps the players as well.
Visualize what they need to do.
Oh, yeah. Because they all have to have a specific responsibility and they have to execute that. Or, because it's a heist, they're going to have to strategize in the moment, trying to resolve the issues that they uncovered while they did it. Fixing the fuck-ups is probably the best part about that. So new players, heist, 100%. And also, the heist sets them up for new jobs and new riches. A great one-shot very rarely stays a one-shot, in my experience. People want to come back for that.
Yeah, and if you want to get some pre-generated one-shots, our friend Sean Merwin...
he's a beast.
Sean
Merwin did... So, our friend... But he also did substantial work on the Acquisitions Incorporated.
Exactly.
Precisely because he is a fucking monster.
Yeah, he did... you can go on the DM's Guild. It's called In Volo's Wake. And it is a packet of essentially 45-minute one-shots. Absolutely wonderful place to start.
That's what you want.
Yep.
That's what you want.
So if you don't want to create it and just want it there for you and just have something that you can pull out anytime, that's the one I recommend.
Blind Cleric, I'm running a Star Wars Destiny RPG soon. I usually run fantasy genre. Is there a way to make my narrative style feel more Star Wars than Pathfinder? Now, I can understand why you'd be worried, because we live in a world of uncertainty. Our death is right around the corner. That's a perfectly legitimate reason to feel agitated. Yeah. But you're in luck, actually, because if you've been playing Pathfinder, and Dungeons and Dragons, a lot of the classic RPG type experiences, each character is very atomized. They exist really on their own plane. They have a class and a race and a bunch of statistics, and they roll to succeed or fail. Star Wars is not like that. Star Wars has a character. I mean, that part's true, but what happens when characters do things in Star Wars is that the assumption of that game is completely modeled after the films, which is that there are unpredictable pulp adventure outcomes that are the direct result of you doing things that seem reasonable, right? And so everything that you do in that game. Have you played Star Wars?
Oh yeah, it's fantastic.
You are in for such a treat.
I've got some of the best visuals.
Players, talk about players DMing the game for you.
Oh,
Holy shit!
Even if you get the, I played it with the starter pack, like the starter box or whatever, and it's a cantina scene, right?
No, for sure.
Outer Rims.
I have that as well. Yeah, that's separate. There's a hardbound book that's just the Outer Rim stuff. Yeah.
And that, to me, was one of the most visual experiences, outside of Delta Green that I've had in a role-playing game.
Yeah. Delta Green is a mixture of like SWAT proficiency plus
Cthulhu.
Eldritch Lovecraft type shit. It's a really, really fascinating setting. But so to get yourself warmed up, Blind Clerk, why don't you go catch Mike's D&D game that he did in Oz, which was a blast. Probably one of the best 3 hours I've spent. Chris Stroud was in there as well. Holly and our friend Jesse Cox is also a super good table, great dungeon master. You'll have a chance to sort of see how the system works, but it's very fluid. It's very much describes a chaotic universe where we're constantly sort of putting a spin on things and just trying not to get swept up in it.
Yeah.
The system itself is actually going to help you make a game that doesn't feel as rigid. Just because Star Wars, the assumption of the Star Wars system, which they've released it in a more generic form in Genesis.
Yeah.
It's all Fantasy Flight stuff. The assumption of the system is that you can succeed poorly and you can fail well. Mm-hmm. And the fact that it isn't pass-fail, it's one thing to have a success and then have a gradient of success. In this, it's possible to have unpleasant outcomes even from successful rolls.
Right.
And so the narrative and character safety is always in flux based on what is essentially a kind of divination. I mean, you're rolling these bones and then you're perceiving them. The other thing that I think would help you a lot would be to grab for an iDevice or an Android device, some kind of a tablet if you have one. Even the phone would be fine. Grab the dice rolling app from Fantasy Flight. It'll actually help you a lot. And it'll do all the counting and stuff for everybody too. You'll see we use that in the Oz game as well. Nova C, hey Jerry, was the choice not to use minis in the C team a style choice? I've noticed that games that use minis tend to more closely adhere to mechanical rules, whereas pure theater of the mind games tend to be more flexible.
I think we've all, Hack Inc. has always been a theater of the mind.
Yeah, for the most part, except for when it started, it was 4th edition, and so 4th edition is very
that was
tactics, very square.
yeah.
But even then, we were doing it on
A podcast.
and so it was still a little bit abstract even then. So when I'm running my own games, definitely I like the ability to fudge things if needed, if it's going to create the best story.
Right.
And so I'm always going to err on that side. That's the Dungeons and Dragons that I grew up playing. It's the one that I learned to play. Certainly for some types of encounters, absolutely. Having a bunch of minis is a thing, but also on the table in front of me, indeed the table that I'm sitting in front of right now, it would take up almost the entire interior volume of it.
Yeah.
And I want to spend the entire game that I'm running with the C team looking directly at people's faces. That's all I want to do in that game is try to tell the most personal, most mortal story that I can. And I don't actually want to move pieces. I don't want to move any plastic around.
No, because, and especially with the table, everybody is very good at describing what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it depends on your players, depends on their style.
And Dungeons and Dragons, obviously, it's all built in.
Yeah, there's no one way to play.
Oh yeah, but all the numbers and all the ranges and everything, that's all in there, and it works either way. My preference is to run it so that a lot of human beings are looking at each other the entire time.
I mean, there was that one time when we were like, okay, well, we can do what if we design a mega dungeon for them to go through?
Yeah.
And then we're just like, no, it's not it just never came to fruition because we just didn't like it wasn't gonna work the way we wanted it to. So
now, Cake the Enforcer says, are you looking forward to Galaxy's Edge?
Yes.
I'll be going after PAX Prime, and I couldn't be more excited. I don't know what that is.
That's the Star Wars at Disney World.
Oh, is that what they call the Star Wars section?
Full immersion.
Okay. That explains. So, because I had actually seen, they're doing a tie-in novel, like an IP tie-in novel for that section of the park.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. That's fine. What's funny for me is I would love an opportunity to go there with my larvae.
Yeah, well, see, I don't have any of those yet. I want to go with friends. It's easy to get them.
Surprisingly easy.
Yeah. I want to go with like adult friends and see what the hell takes place between the nerddom that we have accrued.
Exactly. I want to build that lightsaber.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, the truth is that my kids don't give a shit about Star Wars.
Yeah.
They don't give a shit. Like, I'll take them to these movies and I'll be like, look, this is a spaceship.
Yeah.
These are some wizards over here. They got a magic sword. Like, look at this.
Like, what's not to love?
But, exactly. But
and they're like, no.
No, I mean, their Star Wars is stuff like Harry Potter, honestly, is their Star Wars. Once you get down a little bit, that is where they invest. That's where they project themselves. They don't want to be a Jedi. Like, they want to get their letter when they're 13.
Right.
Like, that's where they invest themselves, right? So I would love a scale model of Star Wars that I could drag them through.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be marvelous. I could dredge them in it, get them encrusted.
Yeah. You're going to love the Millennium Falcon. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, Vaporlock says, you started to answer this one a few weeks ago. Did you receive the latest care package from Sketchbook Brewing? I did not. All right. Ghostly says, should I bring my minis to East? I'd love to throw down with your cultists. No, I'm still painting them. I won't have an opportunity to bring them out to East this particular time, but please bring them into the office sometime. Worst case scenario, because your dudes are already painted. A Tuesday, I know for a fact that you would be fine having his orcs beat me instead of your AdMech. You'd be fine. I mean,
I'll just sit there and commentate. I'll be the freaking hype man and just
the outcome is still the same.
Blitz the whole fucking thing.
Still pulverized.
Yeah.
But there's no question. Honestly, like, that is something we haven't gotten into because mostly it's just the two of us playing and painting. There are a few things I enjoy more than watching friends play war games. It is actually it is a very, very interesting form of entertainment. Matty D says, any questions for playing with a goofy group? Oh, that's trouble. I'm trying to balance narrative and silliness, but it's harder than I expected. You bet. It depends on why people are sitting down at the table.
I don't think it's not a bad thing to have a goofy group at all.
It definitely isn't a goofy group.
But give it to them.
Unless you're trying to tell a specific type of story.
Yeah, but here's the thing. You have to balance it with, am I trying to tell my story or am I helping them tell their story?
Trying to tell my story.
Well, yeah, that's you selfish fuck.
You got there. Well, no, it's true. Ultimately, the game has to be for everybody who is at the table, and part of what you're doing behind that screen is simulating that world for them. If they're going in this goofy route, I mean, to my mind, this is what makes Acquisitions Incorporated work as well as it does, is that occasionally it is deadly serious.
Yeah.
But it earns those moments of seriousness through the goofy stuff.
100%.
And so what I might do is I would lean into the goof aspect of it, but I'd be paying very close attention for opportunities for that stuff to swing back around.
100%.
So have them cinch this thing around the party.
Yeah.
I mean, have them create these sorts of things, and then you can move it straight into pulp chases.
Right.
And eventually this stuff has to catch up.
Yeah.
And that might be an interesting opportunity to turn the knife.
Yeah, I mean, I had a party that literally created what they called splanks in this D&D world. It was a piece of board, a piece of wood with wheels on the bottom, and they wanted to market it as a business venture. They created a fucking skateboard, and that was their whole thing. They went around from town to town during the arc selling skateboards.
And of course, you've generated this Asmodeus tier,
right,
evil god.
Epic. And these fuckers wanted to sell skateboards.
And they wanted it on the half pipe.
Yeah.
All right.
And you know what I did? I just created a rival company that pitched their idea.
Yeah.
And then it all led back into the main story.
Yeah. No, I'm gonna say all games can get goofy, and generally
so let them have it. Let them have it.
Let them have it. But what you should do in that case is, again, let them do a bunch of this labor.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be hard to figure out what the ramifications from that are. And that doesn't mean it has to be like, well, you fight your own father in the halls of hell.
Yeah.
That's unless that's what you really, really want, but you have to earn that too.
Right.
If if you think about it in that way, where you have these moments that you want to put in, give them two things and then have one for yourself.
Exactly.
Figure out what the right balance is there, because once they get invested, once you've taken their actions, made them solid physical things they have to contend with, you'll be able to get the serious moments that you want, and they won't begrudge you it at all.
No, they'll love it. I mean, it'll just be like it's part of the story.
It's true. On the tabletop tip, of course, Sharp Edge Soda, were you aware of the fan-made supplement for Fantasy Flight's X-Wing wargame that makes it a cooperative RPG campaign?
Wait, what?
Heroes of the Aturi Cluster.
How the fuck have we not done this?
It is completely a real thing. Where you have hero pilots and your ships are improving, but you're like playing individual ships. And then there's an actual like mission to mission campaign. I mean,
that's like old school BattleTech.
X-Wing,
that's
exactly.
how we would do BattleTech.
X-Wing is already
fucking
rad.
Yeah.
Right? I'd be
Good
curious.
for them.
Sharp
Jeez.
Edge, I'd be curious if they've made an update to that to bring it into line with 2.0.
Yeah.
I just as a curiosity. I'm sure I can find somebody doing that at East, and I'll ask around.
They're working on it for 2.0. Cool.
Marvy. Thanks, Sharp Edge. So this will be our last question, and then we'll seize the machinery of the universe, and we'll toss it away. Under Dogag, any tips for helping your players get into the more narrative and RP? My current group is very combat-focused. Interesting. And I've never had that. I haven't had a combat-focused group in a really long time.
Yeah, and
since I was doing 4E, because half of the game is miniature play.
Miniature play. Just be the change you want to see in the world, right? Like, if you start doing the RP and being completely open about it and
So
unabashedly,
Yeah.
just in your face with RP, everybody is going to be more comfortable doing it at the
But
table.
I remember I was playing. It happens on the player side too. If there's a player that has a crazy amount of buy-in, that can spread from player to player.
Yeah, it's infectious.
We were playing a Call of Cthulhu game a super long time ago, and my character was like he's an Irish mob lawyer that had like come across the ocean.
He was Tom from The Godfather.
Exactly, but he's basically pushed away from the island into New York for this purpose. And that is one accent. That's one accent I can sort of do.
Yeah.
And so I did my best at it. And then by the end of that game, everyone was from Ireland.
That's great.
That's just how it worked that time. And so I think that Eric has it exactly right. If you lean in, then they will lean in to meet you.
Yeah.
You got to make it compelling for them. And frankly, I mean, that's in D&D. That's when that's what inspiration is for.
Absolutely.
You can use tools like inspiration, mechanical tools, to encourage them to come in, because they're going to want that. They're going to want that inspiration point when the time comes for them to get into the combat stuff that they're focused on.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is just to make the stakes in the combats very high.
Yeah.
Make the stakes social.
100%. Wrap it into the narrative.
Exactly. Take those fights, but, set them in a context that has very, very sophisticated interpersonal or role-playing payloads. Gathered Friends, thank you so much. The texture of the show was very different with the cues. Hopefully that's acceptable to you. Thanks so much for showing up. We're going to clean up all of our stuff here. We're going to grab all of our paints, and then we're just going to fucking keep going. I can't wait. Come back and see us.